I stood in the lobby of my husband's luxury hotel, watching him hold another woman's hand as the elevator doors closed between us. The woman was my best friend. And I was smiling. You're probably wondering why I was smiling, why I wasn't screaming, crying, making a scene. Let me tell you something. By the time you catch your husband cheating, the crying is already done. The heartbreak? That happened years ago. What I felt in that moment wasn't pain. It was freedom. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me start from the beginning. My name is Amanda Holloway, or it was anyway. For 8 years, I was Amanda Easton. I met Derek at the hotel restaurant where I worked as a chef. He was charming, funny, down to earth. We dated for 6 months before I found out the truth. He was Derek Easton, as in son of Richard Easton, the hotel mogul, the man who literally owned the building where I worked. My coworker Maria cornered me in the kitchen one day, eyes wide. "Girl, you've been working here for 3 months and you never knew who he was?" Maria asked, laughing. Who was?" I said, confused. "Your boyfriend, Derek Easton, as in Richard Easton's son, as in the people who own this hotel," she said, gesturing wildly around the kitchen. I nearly dropped the pan I was holding. "What? Oh my God, you really didn't know," Maria said, her jaw dropping. "Amanda, you're dating a billionaire's son." I didn't. I just knew Richard, the older gentleman who occasionally walked through the kitchen and complimented my food. I knew he was wealthy one. But Derek? I didn't know. He never told me. When I confronted Derek that night, he looked sheepish. "Why didn't you tell me?" I asked. "Because I wanted someone to love me for who I am, not what I have," he said, taking my hands. "Every woman I've dated has either wanted my money or my last name. You just wanted me. Do you know how rare that is?" I believed him. And honestly, I fell even more in love with him after that. We got married a year later. His mother, Linda, made me sign a prenup at their lawyer's office. The lawyer slid a thick document across the table. "This is fairly standard," the lawyer said. "You should have your attorney review it before signing." "I don't need a lawyer," I said, picking up the pen. Derek grabbed my wrist. "Amanda, wait, you should read it first." "Why?" I asked, looking at him. "I'm not marrying you for money. I'm marrying you because I love you. Whatever's in here doesn't matter to me." I signed every page without reading a single word. The room went quiet. I looked up to see Linda staring at me with an expression I couldn't read. Richard cleared his throat, looking almost emotional. "Wow," Richard finally said, his voice gruff. That's very trusting of you, Amanda." "She's either incredibly naive or genuinely in love with our son," Linda said softly, studying me. "It's the second one," I said, smiling at Derek. What I didn't know was what that prenup said. There was a clause in there, a big one. If either party cheated, they'd pay the other $50 million. They thought if I cheated, I'd walk away with nothing and owe them money. They never considered that their golden boy might be the one to break our vows. The first year of marriage was like living in a fairy tale. I woke up in a mansion with a walk-in closet bigger than my old one-bedroom apartment. We took trips to Paris, Bali, the Maldives. I had spa days, designer clothes, anything I wanted. Linda called me one morning, about 3 months into the marriage. "Amanda, dear, I'd like to have lunch with you today," she said. We met at her country club. She ordered for both of us. Apparently, she already knew what I'd like. And she was right. "So, Amanda," Linda said, setting down her fork, "I've been thinking. You're in Easton now. You don't need to work at that restaurant anymore." "But I love cooking," I said. "And you can still cook, at home, for Derek, for us, for our events," she said, smiling. "But working in a hotel kitchen? That's beneath you now. You're the daughter-in-law of Richard Easton. Act like it." It wasn't a suggestion. It was a command delivered with a smile. So I quit. And honestly, at first, it was amazing. I supported Derek. I cooked for him, because hiring a private chef when you are a chef felt ridiculous. I hosted parties, organized galas, made the Easton family look good. And I was good at it. Really good. Richard would bring business clients to our home just for my cooking. "Gentlemen, this is my daughter-in-law, Amanda," Richard announced at one dinner party. "Everything you're eating tonight, she made it herself, from scratch. We tried to hire her a team of chefs, but she refused." "Mr. Easton, this is the best beef Wellington I've ever had," one client said. "Better than any 5-star restaurant," another agreed. Richard beamed with pride. Best daughter-in-law a man could ask for. Derek squeezed my hand under the table. You're amazing, he whispered. That was the first year. I was happy. We were happy. And then everything changed. It started small. Derek coming home an hour late here and there. Sorry, babe, the meeting ran long, he'd say, kissing my cheek. It's okay, I'd reply. I kept dinner warm for you. Then it became 2 hours, 3 hours. Some nights he wouldn't come home until after midnight. His phone was always face down now, password protected. If it rang while we were together, he'd look at the screen, frown, and send it to voicemail. Who was that? I asked once. Just work, he said quickly. Nothing important. He started taking more business trips, New York, London, Tokyo, sometimes for a week at a time. Our second anniversary, I planned a special dinner. His favorite dishes, candles, a dress he'd once said he loved on me. I waited at the table from 7 p.m. until midnight. He never came home. At 12:47 a.m., I got a text. Sorry, stuck in a meeting. Don't wait up. I sat there, staring at my phone, at the cold food, at the melted candles, and I cried. Year 3, he forgot my birthday entirely. I woke up excited, thinking maybe he was planning a surprise. He came home at 11 p.m. Hey, he said, loosening his tie. Hey, I replied, waiting. I'm exhausted. I'm going to bed, he said, walking past me. Derek, I called out. Yeah? He said, turning around. Do you know what today is? I asked. He stared at me blankly. Then his eyes widened. Oh, God, Amanda, It's fine, I said, even though it wasn't. You're busy, I understand. I'll make it up to you this weekend, he promised. But he didn't. Year 4, Christmas. That was the worst one. Linda and Richard invited us to Chicago to spend the holidays with Richard's sister. We'd love to have you both, Linda said over the phone. We'll be there, I said, excited. I loved the holidays, but 2 days before our flight, Derek dropped the bomb. I can't go to Chicago, Derek announced at breakfast. What? Why? I asked. I have to fly to Japan. There's an important deal closing right before the new year, he said, not looking up from his phone. Derek, it's Christmas, I said. I know, and I'm sorry, but this is important, he said. Can't someone else handle it? I asked. Amanda, this is a multi-million-dollar deal. I need to be there, he said, finally looking at me. You can still go to Chicago with my parents. I don't want to go without you, I said quietly. He sighed, frustrated. Then don't go. What? I said. If you don't want to go without me, then stay here, he said, standing up. I have to get to the office. He left, just like that. I called Linda that afternoon. Linda, I'm so sorry, but I don't think I can make it to Chicago, I said. Is everything all right, dear? She asked, concerned. Derek has to go to Japan for business, and I scrambled for an excuse. I need to make sure the New Year's gala preparations are perfect. You know how important this event is. There was a pause. Amanda, are you sure you're okay? I'm fine, I lied. I promise. That Christmas Eve, I was alone in a mansion big enough to host 50 people. I sat in the kitchen, the same kitchen where I'd cooked hundreds of meals that Derek barely touched anymore, and I cried. I called my best friend Claudia. Hey girl, Merry Christmas Eve, Claudia said cheerfully. Hey, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. Amanda, what's wrong? She asked immediately. Nothing, I broke down. I'm alone, Claudia. Derek went to Japan for work, and I'm sitting here by myself on Christmas Eve in this huge house, and I just feel so empty. Oh, honey, Claudia said sympathetically. I'm so sorry. Do you want me to come over? No, it's okay, I said, wiping my tears. You're with your family. I just needed to hear a friendly voice. Amanda, you sure you're okay? She asked. You know I'm always here for you, right? I know, I said. Thank you. Merry Christmas, Claudia. Merry Christmas, love. Call me if you need anything, she said. I hung up, feeling slightly better. At least I had Claudia. At least I had one person in this world who cared about me. What I didn't know, Derek wasn't in Japan. He was in Aspen with someone else, and that someone was Claudia, my best friend. I wouldn't find that out until much later in this story. Years 5, 6, and 7 blurred together. I stopped trying. I stopped cooking his favorite meals, stopped planning date nights, stopped wearing pretty dresses to bed hoping he'd notice. I stopped crying, too. One night, I lay in our bed, though it felt like my bed since he was rarely in it, and I realized something. I felt nothing. Derek came home late again. He slipped into bed, thinking I was asleep. I wasn't. I just didn't care enough to acknowledge he was there. In the morning, I looked at him eating breakfast, scrolling through his phone, and I thought, I don't love him anymore. It wasn't painful. It wasn't even sad. It was just a fact. My parents both passed away. Dad when I was 7, Mom when I was 22. I had no siblings, no close family in California. The Eastons had become my family, and Richard and Linda actually did love me. But Derek? Derek was a stranger who slept in my house. People probably thought I was crazy, that I have lost my mind. Look at your life, Amanda. You have everything. But I didn't. I had money, I had a mansion, I had designer clothes and luxury cars, but I didn't have love, I didn't have partnership, I didn't have a family. I had an empty life wrapped in expensive gold paper. And I'd started to accept that this was just how it was going to be. Then came Anna. Anna was our new housekeeper, hired about 4 months ago. She was quiet, hardworking, and sweet. Her mother was sick and medical bills were crushing her. I'd slip her extra money sometimes. 500 here, 1,000 there. Mrs. Easton, I can't accept this, Anna would say, eyes wide. Yes, you can, I'd insist. Your mother needs care, and you work hard. Take it. Thank you, she'd say, tearing up. You're the kindest person I've ever worked for. I'd just smile. It was just money, and God knows I had plenty of it sitting in my account, untouched. One Tuesday afternoon, I was at Richard and Linda's house preparing for one of Richard's business lunches. He loved showing me off. This is my daughter-in-law, Amanda, Richard said to his colleagues. Wait until you taste her beef bourguignon. It'll change your life. I laughed, stirring the pot. You're biased, Richard. Biased, but not wrong, he said, winking. But back at home, Anna was supposed to clean the kitchen. That's what she told me later. Just a simple task, wipe down the counters, mop the floors, organize the pantry. But what she saw changed everything. Anna arrived at the house around 2 p.m. She heard voices in the living room, laughter. She figured maybe Mr. Easton had a business associate over. Then she heard a woman's voice. Not a businesswoman's voice, an intimate voice. I can't wait until this is all over, the woman said, until we can finally be together without sneaking around. Soon, Derek's voice replied. I just need to figure out how to handle Amanda. My parents adore her. If I just leave her, they'll cut me off. Anna froze in the hallway, her heart pounding. Maybe you should just tell her the truth, the woman said. That you don't love her anymore. That you love me. Claudia, it's not that simple, Derek said. Claudia. Anna knew that name. My best friend. The woman who came over for wine nights, who I talked about like a sister. Why not? Claudia asked. Just tell her you want a divorce. Give her some money. She'll go away. You don't understand, Derek said, frustrated. That prenup my mother made her sign? If I cheat, I owe Amanda $50 million. $50 million. My father will murder me. Anna heard Claudia laugh. Well, then don't tell her about us. Just say you fell out of love. She's not stupid, Claudia, Derek said. She's stupid enough to not realize we've been together for 7 years, Claudia said coldly. Anna's blood ran cold. 7 years. They'd been doing this for 7 years. Then she heard Claudia's voice again. How about this Christmas? Are we going to Aspen again? Remember you told Amanda that you need to go to Japan? Will you tell her the same excuse? Let me think about another excuse, Derek said. But I'd rather go to Hawaii instead. Good idea. Make sure she believes it. Claudia laughed. Then Anna heard movement. They were standing up. Anna quickly ducked into the kitchen, her hands shaking. Through the doorway she saw them. Derek had his arms around Claudia, kissing her. In my home, in the house that I took care of, cooked in, lived in, Anna wanted to scream, but she didn't. She stayed hidden until they left. For 3 weeks, Anna said nothing. She'd come to work, clean, and leave, the secret burning inside her. She'd tell herself, it's not my business. Don't get involved. You need this job. But every time I smiled at her, asked her how her mother was doing, slipped her extra money for groceries, Anna felt sick. Finally, she couldn't take it anymore. It was a Friday afternoon. I was in the kitchen making fresh pasta from scratch, something I did when I was stressed. Mrs. Easton? Anna said quietly. Anna, hi, I said, looking up. How's your mom doing? Did the new medication help? She's better, thank you, Anna said. She looked nervous, wringing her hands. Are you okay? I asked, concerned. You look upset. Mrs. Easton, Anna stopped, tears forming in her eyes. I need to tell you something, but I'm scared. I set down the pasta cutter and walked over to her. Anna, what's wrong? Are you in trouble? No, she took a deep breath. About 3 weeks ago, I was here cleaning the kitchen, and I heard voices. I saw Mr. Easton with a woman. My stomach dropped. What woman? Claudia, Anna whispered. Your friend Claudia. I stared at her. For a moment I thought I'd misheard. What? They were in the living room, and I heard them talking, Anna said, words tumbling out now. She said she couldn't wait until you were gone so they could finally be together. And they'd been together for 7 years, and he couldn't leave you because of the, what was that word again? Prenup? And she said something about this Christmas, if they're going to Aspen again, that Mr. Easton told you an excuse that he had to go to Japan. And I'm so sorry, Mrs. Easton, I should have told you sooner, but I was scared. Anna, I said calmly, putting a hand on her shoulder. It's okay. Breathe. You're not mad? She asked, shocked. At you? God, no, I said, and I meant it. Thank you for telling me. Anna looked confused. You don't seem surprised, I laughed bitterly. I'm not. I've known he was seeing someone for years. I just didn't know who. But with your best friend? Anna said, angry now. How could they do that to you? That's when I realized something. I wasn't crying. I wasn't collapsing. I wasn't even hurt. I was relieved. I was hurt now because that other woman was my best friend. But surprisingly, I was okay. Anna, can I ask you a favor? I said. Anything, she replied immediately. Don't tell anyone about this conversation, I said. Not yet. I need to handle this my way. Of course, Anna said. Mrs. Easton, I'm so sorry. Don't be, I said, smiling for the first time. You just gave me the best gift anyone could give me. What gift? Anna asked, confused. Confirmation, I said. Now I can finally leave. I hired a private investigator the next day. Why not? I was a millionaire. Derek gave me $100,000 a month as spending money I barely touched. I saved most of it in a separate bank account he didn't know about. Clothes, spa treatments, luxury items, those went on the black credit card Derek gave me, the one he paid off every month. But my allowance? That was mine, and after 7 years, I had money saved. The PI's name was Robert Smith. He came highly recommended. Mrs. Easton, what exactly do you need? Robert asked during our first meeting. My husband is having an affair, I said calmly. I need evidence. Photos, videos, timestamps, everything. Do you know who he's seeing? Robert asked. My best friend, I said. Claudia Simmons. Robert's eyebrows shot up, but to his credit, he didn't comment. I'll need photos of both of them, their schedules, any information you have. So I gave him what he needed. Robert worked fast. Within 4 weeks, I had everything. Photos of Derek and Claudia entering the hotel. Photos of them in the hotel restaurant, holding hands. Photos of them kissing in the lobby when they thought no one was watching. They meet every Friday, he said, 1 p.m. at the Easton Hotel. They stay until about 10 p.m. Time-stamped records showing they'd been booking the same suite every Friday. Credit card statements showing Derek had been buying Claudia jewelry, clothes, trips I thought he was taking for business, and yes, the Aspen trip, when he said he needs to go to Japan. I sat in my lawyer's office looking through the evidence. This is very thorough, my lawyer Patricia said, and very damning. Is it enough? I asked. More than enough, Patricia said, smiling. Mrs. Easton, do you remember what you signed in your prenup? Not really, I admitted. I didn't read it, but I gave her a copy. I took it from Derek's home office while he was at work. Yup, I didn't read it. There's a clause here. If either party commits adultery, they owe the other party $50 million. I stared at her. 50 million? 50 million, Patricia confirmed. Your in-laws thought you'd be the one to cheat. They never considered their son might be the cheater. I started laughing. I couldn't help it. Oh my God. Mr. Easton is going to owe you a lot of money, Patricia said, grinning. Should I draft the divorce papers? Yes, I said, but not yet. I need to do something first. The next Friday, I dressed carefully. Not too fancy, not too casual. I did my hair, put on makeup. I wanted to look good for this. At 12 noon, I drove to the Easton Hotel. I positioned myself near the elevators, partially hidden behind a decorative pillar, and waited. At 12:58 p.m., Derek walked in. He looked good. Expensive suit, styled hair. He looked happy, excited. My heart, which I thought had completely died, hurt a little. This was the man I'd fallen in love with, the man I'd married, promised forever to, and he was meeting my best friend for their weekly hotel meeting. At 1:12 p.m., Claudia arrived. She looked beautiful. Designer dress, perfect makeup, styled hair. She looked like a woman going on a date with my husband. They didn't see me. They were too focused on each other. Derek smiled when he saw her. "Hey, beautiful," he said. "Hey, yourself," Claudia replied, smiling back. They stood in front of the elevator, waiting. Derek's hand found Claudia's. He squeezed it. "I missed you," Derek said. "It's been 3 days," Claudia laughed. 3 days too long," Derek said. The elevator dinged. The doors opened. They stepped inside, still holding hands. Derek looked at Claudia with an expression I hadn't seen in years. Love, adoration, excitement. He used to look at me like that. They turned to face the front, hands still intertwined. That's when I stepped forward. "Going up?" I said cheerfully. They both froze. Their heads whipped around, eyes wide with panic. Derek dropped Claudia's hand like it had burned him. "Amanda," Derek started, his face going pale, but the elevator doors were already closing. I just stood there smiling at them. Really smiling. Not a sad smile. Not a bitter smile. A genuine, happy smile. Because I was free. The last thing I saw before the doors closed completely was Derek's horrified face and Claudia's shocked expression. Then they were gone. I turned around and walked out of the hotel. My phone started ringing before I even reached my car. "Derek, I declined the call." It rang again. "Claudia, declined." "Derek, declined." "Claudia, declined." Text messages started flooding in. From Derek, "Amanda, please let me explain." From Derek, "It's not what it looked like." From Claudia, "Amanda, I'm so sorry. Please call me. Where are you? I'm coming home. Please, we need to talk." I silenced my phone and drove home. I had packing to do. When I got home, I went straight to the bedroom and pulled out my suitcases. I opened my walk-in closet, the one bigger than my old apartment, and started sorting. Designer dresses Derek bought me, left them hanging. Jewelry he'd given me over the years, left it in the boxes. Expensive handbags, left them on the shelves. I only took what I'd bought with my own money or what I'd had before the marriage. Old jeans, t-shirts, my favorite sweater that was worn thin. My chef's knives, the ones I'd saved up for years to buy. Looking at that pile of expensive things I was leaving behind, I realized something. The monthly allowance Derek gave me now felt like a salary. I'd been his employee, his housekeeper, his party planner, his trophy wife. But I'd never been his partner. I was folding my clothes carefully, no rush, I had all the time in the world, when I heard the front door slam open. "Amanda!" Derek's voice echoed through the house. I didn't respond, just kept folding. Footsteps thundered up the stairs. Derek burst into the bedroom, Claudia trailing behind him. "Amanda, please, we need to talk," Derek said, breathless. I placed a folded shirt in my suitcase, didn't look at him. "Amanda, say something," Derek pleaded. "What would you like me to say?" I asked calmly, reaching for another shirt. "Let me explain," Derek started. "Explain what?" I interrupted, still not looking at him. "Explain how you've been sleeping with my best friend for 7 years. Explain how you spent Christmas with her while I was alone. Explain how every business trip, every late night, every forgotten anniversary was actually time with her." I finally looked up. Derek looked sick. Claudia was crying, mascara running down her face. "How long have you known?" Derek asked quietly. "Known something was wrong?" 7 years, I said. "Known it was Claudia? About a few weeks." "Few weeks?" Claudia gasped. "You've known for few weeks and said nothing?" What was I supposed to say, Claudia? "Hey, I know you're sleeping with my husband. I needed time to plan." "Plan what?" Derek asked, fear creeping into his voice. "My exit," I said simply. I returned to my packing. "Amanda, please don't do this," Derek said, moving closer. "I made a mistake." "A mistake?" I said, finally showing emotion. "A mistake is forgetting to buy milk or being late for dinner. 7 years isn't a mistake, Derek. 7 years is a choice. I still love you," Derek said desperately. I laughed. "No, the hell you don't." "I do," he insisted. "Amanda, I love you. I was just—" "You were just what?" I snapped, slamming a drawer shut. "Confused? Lost? Because you seemed pretty clear about your feelings when you were holding her hand in that elevator." It's not like that," Derek stammered. "Then what is it like?" I asked, crossing my arms. "Tell me. I'm genuinely curious." Derek looked at Claudia as if she'd help him. She just stared at the floor, crying silently. "I don't know how it happened," Derek finally said. "It just did." "Things don't just happen, Derek," I said. You made a choice. Every Friday for 7 years, you chose her over me. That's not fair, Derek said. Fair? I said incredulously. You want to talk about fair? I spent 7 years trying to be the perfect wife. I quit my job for you. I hosted your parties, cooked your meals, made your family look good. I asked for nothing except your love and your fidelity, and you couldn't even give me that. Amanda, Claudia spoke for the first time. Don't, I said sharply, holding up a hand. Don't you dare speak to me. I'm sorry, Claudia whispered. You're sorry, I said, my voice cold. You were my best friend, Claudia. My only friend. I told you everything. I cried to you about how lonely I was, how Derek was never home, how I felt like I was losing him. And the whole time, you were the reason why. I didn't mean for it to happen, Claudia said weakly. When did it start? I asked. I want to know. Claudia and Derek looked at each other. Tell me, I demanded. The first year, Derek admitted quietly. After our first anniversary. I felt like I'd been punched. The first year? So this entire marriage, everything has been a lie? No, it wasn't like that, Derek said quickly. I loved you, I did, but Claudia and I, we just what? Just happened to fall into bed together? I said sarcastically. How romantic. I was jealous, Claudia burst out suddenly. Okay, I was jealous. You had everything, Amanda. The perfect husband, the perfect life, the mansion, the money, and I had nothing. I was still waiting tables, living in a studio apartment, and you just got lucky. I stared at her in disbelief. Lucky? You think I was lucky? Weren't you? Claudia shot back, anger replacing tears. You married a billionaire. You never had to work again. You got to live in a fairy tale. A fairy tale? I repeated slowly. Claudia, I spent one Christmas alone, 7 birthdays forgotten. I haven't had a real conversation with my husband in years. I cook meals that no one eats. I sleep in a bed by myself more often than not. I have cried myself to sleep more times than I can count. But sure, lucky Amanda. You were with him in Aspen, that one Christmas. I even called you that time. Claudia looked away, shame creeping back into her expression. You wanted my life so badly, you took it, I said quietly. So congratulations. You can have it. You can have the mansion, the money, the Easton name, and you can have Derek. Amanda, no, that's not. I don't want her, Derek said desperately. I want you. This was a mistake, all of it. Please give me another chance. Why? I asked simply. Because I love you, Derek said. Do you? I asked. Or do you love what I do for you? Do you love me, or do you love having a wife who makes you look good, who cooks for your business dinners, who manages your social calendar, who asks for nothing and complains about nothing? Derek opened his mouth, then closed it. That's what I thought, I said. I zipped up my suitcase. My lawyer will contact you about the divorce. Divorce? Derek said, panic flooding his face. No, Amanda, please. Goodbye, Derek, I said, picking up my suitcase. The prenup, Derek said suddenly. Amanda, the prenup has a clause. I know, I said, smiling slightly. $50 million for adultery. My lawyer explained it to me. Derek's face went white. Amanda, please, my parents, they'll kill me. My father will cut me off. Please, can't we work this out? You should have thought about that before you spent 7 years screwing with my best friend, I said. I walked past him, past Claudia, and out of the bedroom. Amanda, Derek called, following me. Amanda, please. I'll do anything. I'll cut her off right now. I'll never see her again. I stopped at the top of the stairs and turned around. Derek, let me ask you something. If I had never found out, would you have ever stopped? He hesitated. That hesitation told me everything. That's what I thought, I said. Goodbye, Derek. I walked down the stairs, through the foyer, past the photos of our wedding day, of vacations we'd taken, of the life I'd thought was real. I opened the front door, put my suitcase in my car, and drove away. I didn't look back. I checked into a hotel that night. Nothing fancy, just a regular hotel with a clean room and a comfortable bed. I sat on that bed in that ordinary room and I felt lighter than I had in years. My phone wouldn't stop ringing. Derek called 47 times that night. I counted. Claudia called 32 times. I blocked both their numbers. The next morning, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. Against my better judgment, I answered. Hello? I said cautiously. Amanda. It was Richard. Where are you? I'm fine, Richard, I said. I'm safe. Derek came to see us this morning, Richard said, his voice tight. He told us everything. I closed my eyes. I'm sorry you had to find out this way. You're sorry? Richard said, and I could hear the anger in his voice. You have nothing to be sorry for. My son, on the other hand, I have never been more disappointed in my entire life. Richard, I started. No, let me finish, Richard interrupted. Linda and I love you. You are our daughter, prenup or no prenup, marriage or no marriage. You will always be family to us. I felt tears prick my eyes. Thank you. That woman, Claudia, Richard continued, his voice dripping with disgust. Derek wants to marry her. What? I said, shocked. He claims he's in love, Richard said bitterly. We told him he's a fool. He let go of a woman who loved him for a woman who loves his money. Maybe he really does love her, I said quietly. If he loved her, he wouldn't have stayed married to you for 8 years, Richard said sharply. No, this isn't love. This is Derek being selfish and stupid. But he's made his bed. Now he has to lie in it. 3 days later, I met with Linda for lunch at her request. She looked tired, older somehow. When she saw me, she stood and hugged me tightly. I'm so sorry, Amanda, she said, her voice breaking. I'm so sorry. It's not your fault, Linda, I said gently. I raised him, she said, pulling back. I raised him to be better than this, and he's not. He's a cheater and a liar, and he threw away the best thing that ever happened to him. We sat down. Linda reached across the table and took my hands. I want you to take him for everything, Linda said fiercely. The prenup clause, use it. Make him pay. Linda, I started. I mean it, she said. He broke his vows. He humiliated you. He deserves to face the consequences. What about Derek, I asked. He's your son. And you're my daughter, Linda said firmly. He made his choice. Now he has to live with it. The divorce took a year. Derek fought it at first. Tried to claim the affair was recent, tried to negotiate a lower settlement. But Patricia, my lawyer, was ruthless. She had every piece of evidence, every photo, every timestamp, every credit card statement showing 7 years of gifts and hotel rooms and trips. The judge took one look at the evidence and ruled in my favor. $50 million, plus half of the joint assets we'd accumulated during the marriage. Derek was furious. You're taking everything, he shouted at me outside the courthouse. No, I said calmly. I'm taking what I'm owed. There's a difference. My father is furious with me, Derek said bitterly. Good, I said. Maybe you'll learn something from this. I lost everything because of you, Derek spat. No, I corrected. You lost everything because of your choices. Don't put that on me. During that year, I heard bits and pieces about Derek and Claudia's life together. Richard and Linda made Claudia sign a prenup too. She'd fought it, refused at first. I don't need a prenup, Claudia had apparently said. I love Derek. This is insulting. Amanda signed hers without reading it, Linda had replied coldly. She signed it because she loved our son more than his money. Can you say the same? Claudia didn't have a choice but to sign the prenup, or else they will see her as a gold digger, and she didn't want that. But marriage to Derek wasn't the fairy tale she'd imagined. Anna, bless her heart, kept me updated. She'd quit working for Derek after I left, but she had friends who still worked at the mansion. Miss Holloway, Anna said during one of our coffee meetups. You would not believe what it's like there now. Tell me, I said, smiling. She can't cook, Anna said, laughing. Like at all, she serves him frozen dinners and takeout. Derek asked her to make a roast for a business dinner, and she tried to pass off catered food as her own. Derek found the packaging in the trash. I couldn't help but laugh. Oh no. And the money, Anna continued. Derek gives her the same allowance he gave you. You saved it, right? She blows through it in a week. Then she asks for more. Wow, I said, shaking my head. And Mr. and Mrs. Easton, your in-laws, they can't stand her, Anna said. They compare her to you constantly. Amanda would have cooked this beautifully. Amanda always knew how to make guests feel welcome. Amanda never asked us for money. Claudia can't say anything because it's all true. That sounds miserable, I said, and I meant it. I didn't hate Claudia. I just felt nothing. There's more, Anna said, leaning in conspiratorially. Derek stays out late now. Sometimes he doesn't come home at all. Do you think he's cheating on her? I asked. Probably, Anna shrugged. Or maybe he just can't stand being around her. Either way, that mansion, it's not a home, it's a tomb. I thought about that later. Claudia had wanted my life so desperately. She'd betrayed our friendship, destroyed my marriage, all to get what I had. And now she had it. The mansion, the money, the Easton name, and Derek. But she didn't have what made it worthwhile. Love, respect, partnership. She had the expensive wrapping paper, but none of the actual gift. I used my divorce settlement to open a small diner in Pasadena. Nothing fancy. Just good food at reasonable prices, comfort food that reminded people of home. I called it Holloway's. The first month was slow, but word spread. People came back, brought their friends. Yelp reviews started pouring in. Best meatloaf I've ever had. The pot roast tastes like my grandmother's. Cozy atmosphere, incredible food, reasonable prices. Within 6 months, I was packed every night. Within a year, people from other cities were driving to Pasadena just to eat at my diner. Amanda, you should open another location, my regulars would say. And eventually I did, then another, then another. 5 years later, I had 5 Holloway's locations across California. I hired Anna as kitchen help at the first location. Miss Holloway, are you sure? Anna had asked, shocked. I'm just a housekeeper. You're hardworking, loyal, and you care about people, I said. Those are the qualities I want in my staff. The rest I can teach you. I trained her myself. How to prep, how to cook, how to manage inventory, how to deal with difficult customers. She was a natural. Within a year, she was my restaurant manager. When I opened the second location, she managed both. By the time I had 5 locations, she was my general manager, overseeing all of them. I never thought I'd be here, Anna told me once, tears in her eyes. I thought I'd clean houses my whole life. You're here because you earned it, I said, hugging her. I just gave you the opportunity. You did the rest. Her salary was triple what Derek had paid her. She moved her mother into a nice nursing home where she was happy, playing poker with new friends, taking art classes. My mother talks about you like you're a saint, Anna told me, laughing. I'm not a saint, I said. I'm just someone who believes in giving people a chance. My life was smaller now. No mansion, no luxury vacations, no designer clothes. But I was happy. Really, truly happy. I woke up every morning excited to go to work. I loved creating new dishes, training new staff, chatting with regulars. I loved the smell of fresh bread, the sizzle of a hot pan, the satisfaction of a full restaurant. This was my life, the one I'd built with my own 2 hands. And I loved it. One Tuesday afternoon, during the lunch rush, Anna came running into the kitchen. Miss Holloway, she said, her face flushed. Derek's here. I was in the middle of plating a burger. I didn't even pause. Tell him I'm busy. I did, Anna said. He said he'll wait. Let him wait then, I said, adding fries to the plate. Order up. But Anna didn't move. He looks bad, like really bad. I sighed, wiped my hands on my apron. Fine, I'll talk to him, but only for 5 minutes. Derek was sitting in a corner booth, looking out of place in his expensive suit. He did look bad, tired, older, defeated. Anna positioned herself at a nearby table, arms crossed, glaring at him like a protective guard dog. I had to smile at that. Amanda, Derek said, standing when he saw me. Thank you for seeing me. You have 5 minutes, I said, sliding into the booth across from him. I have a restaurant to run. This place is nice, Derek said, looking around. I heard it's been very successful. 4.5 minutes, I said flatly. Derek flinched. Right. Amanda, I made a huge mistake. I know, I said. You told me that 5 years ago. I mean it, Derek insisted, leaning forward. Marrying Claudia was the biggest mistake of my life. I should never have let you go. You didn't let me go, Derek, I corrected. I left. There's a difference. I know, he said, running a hand through his hair. Amanda, I'm miserable. Claudia is... She's not you. She's nothing like you. That's not my problem, I said. I want you back, Derek blurted out. I'm willing to pay Claudia whatever she wants to leave. I'll give her money, a house, whatever. Just please, give me another chance. I stared at him for a moment. Then I started laughing. What's funny? Derek asked, confused. You, I said, shaking my head. Derek, do you hear yourself? You're offering to buy your way out of one relationship so you can buy your way back into another. I'm not trying to buy anything, Derek said defensively. I just want to fix things. There's nothing to fix, I said simply. We're done. We've been done for a long time. But I love you, Derek said desperately. No, you don't, I said firmly. You love the idea of me. You love having a wife who cooked your meals and hosted your parties and asked for nothing. But that's not love, Derek. That's convenience. That's not true, Derek protested. Isn't it? I challenged. Tell me, what's my favorite book? Derek opened his mouth, then closed it. What's my favorite movie? What was my mother's name? When's my birthday? I asked, watching him struggle. You don't know, do you? It's been a while, Derek stammered. You didn't know then either, I said quietly. You never asked. In 8 years of marriage, you never once asked about me, what I wanted, what I dreamed about, what made me happy. You just assumed I was happy because I had money. Amanda, Derek started. I'm happy now, Derek, I interrupted. I'm really, truly happy. I wake up every morning excited to come to work. I love what I do. I love the life I've built. And I did it all without your money, without your name, without you. Derek looked down at the table. So that's it? You won't even consider giving us another try? There is no us to try, I said gently. That died a long time ago. Maybe it was never really alive to begin with. I was a fool, Derek said, his voice breaking. Yes, you were, I agreed. But Derek, I need you to understand something. I don't hate you. I don't even think about you anymore. You're just someone I used to know. That seemed to hurt him more than anything else I'd said. I should get back to work, I said, standing up. Amanda, wait, Derek called. Can I ask you something? I turned back. What? Do you ever think about that first year? Derek asked. When we were happy? Before everything went wrong? I thought about it. Really thought about it. Sometimes, I admitted. But then I remember it wasn't real. You were already cheating on me by our first anniversary. So no matter how happy I thought I was, it was all built on a lie. I'm sorry, Derek whispered. I know you are, I said. But sorry doesn't change anything. I do wish you find your happiness. Goodbye, Derek. I walked away. This time when I didn't look back, it wasn't out of anger or hurt. It was because I genuinely didn't need to. Anna intercepted me at the kitchen door. You okay? She asked. I'm fine, I said, smiling. Actually, I'm great. Table 4 needs their order, and we have a party of 8 coming in at 3. On it, boss, Anna said, grinning. 3 weeks later, Claudia showed up. It was a slow Thursday afternoon. I was in the kitchen experimenting with a new dessert recipe when I heard Anna's voice rise in alarm once again. You need to leave. Now, Anna was saying. I just want to talk to her, another voice replied. Claudia's voice. I wiped my hands and walked out to the front. Claudia looked different, thinner, more tired. Her designer clothes hung on her frame. Her hair, once always perfectly styled, looked dull. It's okay, Anna, I said calmly. Are you sure? Anna asked, glaring at Claudia. I'm sure, I said. Claudia, would you like to sit down? Claudia nodded, following me to the same booth where Derek had sat weeks earlier. We sat in silence for a moment. I heard Derek came to see you, Claudia finally said. He did, I confirmed. He wants you back, she said bitterly. He told me. He said he'd give me money to leave him so he could try to win you back. I know, I said. He told me that too. And? Claudia asked, looking at me with something like hope in her eyes. And I said no, I replied simply. Claudia's shoulders sagged. Whether in relief or disappointment, I couldn't tell. I'm sorry, Claudia said suddenly, for everything, for what I did to you, for betraying you, for all of it. Okay, I said neutrally. That's it? Claudia asked. Just okay? What do you want me to say, Claudia? I asked. Do you want me to yell at you? Do I tell you how much you hurt me? Would that make you feel better? I don't know, Claudia admitted. Maybe. I'm not going to do that, I said, because honestly, Claudia, I don't care anymore. What you and Derek did, that was 5 years ago. History. I've moved on. I haven't, Claudia said quietly. Moved on. I mean, I'm miserable, Amanda. Derek barely looks at me anymore. He stays out late, sometimes all night. His parents hate me. I have no friends. I lost them all when everyone found out what I did. I have money. I have the mansion. I have everything I thought I wanted. But I'm so lonely. I looked at her, and I felt something I didn't expect. Pity. Claudia, I spent 7 years feeling exactly how you feel now, I said. Lonely, empty, wondering why having everything felt like having nothing. You know what I learned? What? She asked. That you can't build a life on someone else's foundation, I said. You wanted my life so badly, you took it. But it was my life. It fit me. It was never going to fit you. I know that now, Claudia said, tears rolling down her cheeks. I was so jealous of you. You had the perfect life, the perfect husband, everything, and I had nothing. I was just ordinary. There's nothing wrong with being ordinary, I said gently. Claudia, you were a good waitress. You had friends who cared about you. You had a life. Maybe it wasn't glamorous, but it was yours. And you threw it all away for this. I know, she sobbed. I know, and I can't take it back. I ruined everything. I ruined your life. I ruined my life. I ruined our friendship. You didn't ruin my life, I interrupted. You just changed it. And my life is better now than it ever was with Derek. Claudia looked up at me in surprise. Really? Really, I confirmed. I love what I do. I love my restaurants. I love my staff. So I love waking up every morning knowing I built this with my own hands. Derek's money gave me a start, sure. But everything after that was all me. I'm happy for you, Claudia said, and she sounded like she meant it. You deserve to be happy. So do you, Claudia, I said, but you're never going to find happiness in my leftovers. What do you mean? She asked. I mean Derek, I said bluntly. He's never going to love you the way you want him to, because he doesn't know how to love anyone but himself. You could be the most perfect wife in the world, and it still wouldn't be enough, because the problem isn't you, it's him. So what do I do? Claudia asked helplessly. That's not for me to tell you, I said. But Claudia, if you're miserable, leave. Life's too short to spend it being unhappy just because you're afraid of starting over. The prenup, Claudia started. What about it? I asked. I signed a prenup, Claudia said. If I leave Derek, I get nothing, unless he cheats on me, but I have no proof of that. So you're staying because of money? I asked. I'm staying because I have nowhere else to go, Claudia admitted. I burned every bridge I had. I have no friends, no family who will talk to me, no job skills besides waiting tables. If I leave Derek, I'll have nothing. You'll have yourself, I said. That's more than nothing. I'm not you, Amanda, Claudia said. I'm not strong like you. You think I was strong? I asked, surprised. Claudia, I cried myself to sleep for years. I felt worthless, unwanted, unloved. I stayed in that marriage way longer than I should have because I was terrified of being alone. The only reason I finally left was because I realized being alone couldn't possibly be worse than being with someone who made me feel alone anyway. Claudia wiped her tears. I really am sorry. I know it doesn't change anything, but I am. I believe you, I said. But Claudia, you need to stop apologizing to me and start making different choices. If you're unhappy, change something, because 5 years from now, you could still be sitting in that mansion, still miserable, still waiting for Derek to love you the way you deserve. Or you could be somewhere completely different, building a life that actually makes you happy. You make it sound so simple, Claudia said. It's not simple, I said honestly. Starting over is terrifying, but it's possible. I'm living proof. Claudia stood up. Thank you for talking to me. I didn't deserve your kindness. Maybe not, I agreed, but I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it because holding on to anger and resentment doesn't hurt you. It only hurts me. And I'm done letting you and Derek take up space in my head. Claudia nodded, fresh tears streaming down her face. For what it's worth, Derek was right about one thing. You really are amazing. He was a fool to let you go. He didn't let me go, I corrected one last time. I left. And that's the difference. Claudia walked out. I watched her get into her expensive car, probably a gift from Derek, and drive away. Anna came over, shaking her head. I can't believe you were nice to her. I wasn't nice, I said. I was honest. There's a difference. Are you okay? Anna asked, concerned. Yeah, I said, and I meant it. I really am. 6 months after Claudia's visit, I heard through the grapevine that she and Derek had separated. Not divorced. Separated. Apparently, Derek had agreed to give her money to start over. Not the amount he'd paid me, but enough. Claudia had asked for the same $50 million, of course. You cheated on Amanda, she'd reportedly said. I deserve the same. There's one problem with that, Derek had apparently replied. I didn't cheat on you. You want money? You can take what I'm offering, or you can leave with nothing. Your choice. She took the money, a few million, enough to start over somewhere else. I heard she moved to Portland, started working at a small bakery, was taking classes at community college. Good for her, I thought when I heard. Maybe she'd finally figure out who she was when she wasn't trying to be me. As for Derek, last I heard he was dating someone new. Another beautiful woman with expensive tastes. Some people never learn. Richard and Linda still called me regularly. We had lunch once a month. They'd apologized 1,000 times for their son's behavior, but I always told them the same thing. Derek's choices weren't their fault. You're still our daughter, Linda said during one of our lunches. Divorce or no divorce? And you're still my family, I replied, squeezing her hand. That's the thing about family. Sometimes the people you're born to aren't your family at all. And sometimes the people you choose become more family than blood ever could be. My life now is simple. No mansion, no luxurious vacations. I wake up at 5 a.m., go to my flagship diner, prep for the day. I create new recipes, train new staff, chat with regulars who've become friends. I'm Amanda Holloway. I'm a chef, a businesswoman, a friend, a daughter. I'm not anyone's wife, anyone's trophy, anyone's convenience. I'm just me. And for the first time in my entire life, that's enough.
If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and drop a comment below. Don't forget to follow for more content just like this. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.